There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all by myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient, didn't know the love of God was at hand. Now I can say that you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day. You've got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you had to say. Good morning, CSL. It's always a pleasure when you hop on in and join us on Sundays. We're here on Thursday, but you're up, ready to do this on Thursday, and we are glad. I'd like to introduce you to our music team. We have Mr. Mark Hayes over on keys. We've got Mr. Paul Roberts back here on keys as well. Mr. Doug Auwarter back there on drums. And our buddy Mr. Ben Tervort, the little brother of the band, over here on bass. I am your music director. My name is Langston, and we are so glad you're here. Now take a sip of water. You ready? Because I'd like for you to sing with us. You ready? I release and I let go. I let the spirit of my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the spirit of my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Good morning, everyone. I am filling in as the practitioner this morning. I've got to stay in practice, so it's my privilege to do this. Our core value in March is diversity. I love that core value because I think it stands for who we are, adding inclusion to that. But I believe it's also the perfect description of how creative our Creator is. That there are no two people that look exactly alike, no two people that probably believe exactly alike. That there are unique talents and gifts spread across the whole community, spread across all of humanity, and all of it works together, hopefully to make it a better place to live on the planet. So we honor diversity this month. So let's go within and have our opening prayer. And let's know that wherever we are, whether we are in this building, whether we are at home, at the gym, listening in the car, wherever we are hearing this or watching this, that each and every one of us is surrounded and immersed in a creative presence that is powerful beyond measure, but it took on human form as us. And so we are its expression on the earth. So we give thanks for that distinct honor of being divinity in human form. We give thanks for that in this community, in our lives, in our neighborhoods, in our homes. Wherever we are unique expressions of spirit, and we give thanks for that opportunity. So we are grateful to be here this morning, to serve, to be together as a community, and to know each other's perfection. So we give thanks for that, and let it be so, and so it is.
It's like the air around me, like sunlight on my face. I feel the love of God surround me. I am touched by amazing grace. And all I ever wanted, and all I ever needed was already there. Closer than the sunlight, nearer than the air. Like the sunlight on my face, I feel the love of God surround me. I am touched by amazing grace, and all I ever wanted, and all I ever needed was already there. Oh, closer than the sunlight, nearer than the air.
My name is Debbie Gaunt, and it is my honor and privilege to be here today to welcome you to today's service. Whether you found us through Facebook Live and you're joining us that way, through the podcast that's on the website, or joining us through Zoom, we are so glad that you are here with us. Let's go ahead and get started and stand and say who we are. We are a diverse and inclusive spiritual community expressing God as love.
Sorry about that. Had to go to the back and get a glass of water. I'm stuck. Here we go. You know, Natasha had this problem last Sunday. Are we still recording or have you stopped? Okay. So I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but last Sunday at the end of the service, just as the band stopped playing the closing song, Zoom totally shut us down. And the meeting just totally went away. Everybody dropped off. So some of us logged back on and were able to get back on. So if you were there last Sunday and that happened to you and the meeting just abruptly ended, that's what happened. I don't know what happened. Zoom just shut us down. So anyway, we are back this morning on March the 4th or March the 7th, and we're having a new month and a new monthly theme. So Kathy, I believe there is a slide for this. Our theme this month of March is Open to Possibilities. And actually that's, I love that graphic that Jen Weavers did for us because it's symbolic of things opening up in springtime, that we're going from a cold, dormant winter to a spring that's opening up with possibilities. If you are a sports fan, you know that Major League Baseball spring training starts this month, and every baseball team in spring training thinks this could be my year, that this could be our year to win it all. So even baseball is full of possibilities, open to possibilities in March. This is not an open to possibility piece of information, but I do want to let you know that next Sunday, March 14th, we set our clocks forward. We have another time change, so on March 14th, remember to move your clock forward, and then you will be here at the same time we are. So in her outstanding lesson last Sunday, Natasha shared some of her childhood church experiences. And they made me laugh because I have a few of my own to pull out at some point. Mine didn't revolve around some of the things hers did. Mine is more about my brother and my sisters, what we did during communion in my mom and dad's church that made it less than a sacred moment. So I'll share that some other time. But what made me think of Natasha's stories about her childhood church experiences was that I wanted to start this morning with a fairy tale. And when I thought of that, what immediately popped in my head was I was told that stories and fables and myths and fairy tales had no value because they weren't written in Scripture. So they were just make-believe. They were someone's imagination, those daydreamers. I don't know that I ever changed anybody's mind that those things did have value, but I do know that no one changed my mind about the fact that they do have value. There just had to be more to know and to understand than the 66 books in my Christian Bible that I grew up with. And I actually thought it was fun to see myself in the lives of those in the tales and the fables and the myths that I read, and to learn the moral of the story for my life. So when I saw that the Centers for Spiritual Living theme this month for all of our centers was Open to Possibilities, I remembered a section of the fairy tale Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. And it's a dialogue that I want to share with you that's between Alice and the Red Queen, where the Queen has just told Alice something that Alice believes is impossible. So Alice is saying, I can't believe that. And the Queen kind of has a pitying voice and says, can't you? And so she says, try again. Draw a long breath and shut your eyes. Well, Alice laughs at that idea and says, there's no use trying. One can't believe impossible things. But the Queen says, I dare say you haven't had much practice believing impossible things. When I was your age, I did that for at least a half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I still believe as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. So besides being about the power of our mind and our imagination to believe impossible things, that fairy tale was written in 1865, and it reflects a theological dispute that was taking place at that time. So people who heard the story then would have known what that story was referring to. So what it was referring to was this dispute over whether or not there were such things as miracles. The Queen, who said, I believe as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast, was expressing the side of the argument for the belief in miracles, because it proved the existence of God or the existence of something greater than us. Alice, on the other hand, who said that one can't believe in the impossible things, she was expressing the other side of the argument that said so-called miracles can be explained rationally, that there has to be a logical explanation for things. So Alice believes in the sensible, the reasonable, the explainable. The Queen, on the other hand, falls on the side that belief should be grounded in faith rather than in reason. And don't we see ourselves in both, the Queen and in Alice? Be sensible, reasonable, count on what's explainable, or believe in the unexplainable. Believe in what may not make sense. Believe in the mystery of it all. So we have a quote for the month of March that I'd like to use as an affirmation. And Kathy, there's a slide, thank you. And we're going to use this to practice as often as we need to, believing in impossible things. So the quote says, there is no limit in the universe. There are more possibilities than one can imagine. So I'm going to ask you to say that with me while it's still up on the screen. And I know it may seem odd or seem strange to just say it with yourself at home, but let's say it knowing that there are other people across a lot of different platforms saying it with you. So let's say this together. There is no limit in the universe. There are more possibilities than one can imagine. So something the Queen said to Alice has stuck with me. She said, I dare say you haven't had much practice believing impossible things. And I thought, that's sad and probably true. So how often do I practice believing in something that appears impossible, that it really is possible? or what someone told me is impossible. How often do I practice believing that it is possible? Why would someone saying it's impossible for them have to make it impossible for me? We have been taught, though, to think in terms of limits and boundaries and restrictions, to settle for what you have. Don't dream too big. Don't be too much. You'll just get disappointed, and maybe even worse, you may make someone else uncomfortable if you're too big or too much of something. Well, the problem is we were not created to live with those limits on us in any way. So the founder of our teaching, Dr. Ernest Holmes, said this about that. And Kathy, I believe there's a slide for that too. So Dr. Holmes said, "We shall always be expanding and always enlarging our capacity to know and to experience." He did not say, one day you'll stop expanding when you get older or when you retire, that you'll stop expanding when you've had too many disappointments or you've had one too many failures. He said we shall always be expanding, we shall always be enlarging our capacity to know and to experience. So limits that have been placed on our growth and expansion are not God's limits. Those are limits someone else created, and maybe we just went along with it for whatever reason. But we are not created with limits on our growing, on our expanding, and on our enlarging our capacities to know and to experience all the things that we want. We see this urge to expand and enlarge as humanity has progressed over the years and over centuries. We push out and push back in order to expand. We have the urge to defy impossibilities. Raise a teenager and tell them, no, you can't do that. And you'll see, like that, the urge to push back and defy impossibilities. But we were created with that urge to push back against what we're told is impossible. The edge of the world was pushed back and eliminated by Columbus and other explorers. The world did not end at the edge of the horizon like they believed. Astronomers pushed back the earlier belief that the sky was the limit. And when they pushed back and started exploring, they found galaxies that are over 100 or over 1 million light years away, that the universe is so vast. Gerontologists told us that the lifespan of 100 years is conceivable. So now 100th birthday parties are not uncommon. Someone in our community celebrated their mother's 111th birthday just a couple of weeks ago. If you are into sports, you know that athletic records are broken so rapidly that it seems there are no limits left. I read this week that scriptures of the major world religions were written before the knowledge of the universe, or when the knowledge of the universe was so limited that those scriptures should really be reinterpreted to make room for our knowledge and understanding as it has expanded and increased. We shall always be expanding. We shall always be enlarging our capacity to know and to experience. And I'm going to say this again. Limits placed on your growth and your expansion are not God's limits. They are limits someone else created. It is hardwired in you by your Creator to grow and expand and to be more. There is no limit in the universe. There are more possibilities than one can imagine. But we have versions and interpretations of God that set limits for us. So the God of my childhood had favorites. People and religions that were preferred over others. The idea of unconditional love sounded pretty in sermons and prayers. But if you wanted the good stuff and wanted to stay out of trouble, there were conditions that you needed to meet. And here's me, I thought it was unconditional. Well, it turns out that's not a popular question to ask. So it was a challenge trying to meet those conditions. And there were also only a select few who could really hear from God. Only a select few that God chose to share information with. Someone else would let me know what God thought. Even let me know what God thought about me, because I couldn't know that for myself. So what a relief to find a teaching like we have, where you don't have to stop using the brain that God gave you and wait for someone else to tell you what the truth is. We believe that any person can be a revealer of truth for themselves. Now, you can get inspiration and guidance from other people, but you can hear and know and feel God for yourself. And it doesn't depend on your race or your religion or your gender. It doesn't depend on who you love, how much money or education you have. And hearing from God does not depend on whether you've made mistakes or bad decisions. Just that last one alone, mistakes and bad decisions, would disqualify all of us if perfection was the requirement. So when you think about it, how small and how limited we make God by believing that things like race and gender and money and education and who we love and our attempts to be perfect, why would that impress a power and a presence that created a universe so big that there are galaxies millions of light years away? But what an awesome thought, or what an awesome idea it is, that this creator would take human form as you and download itself in you. So as long as you're still here, you have the hardwired urge from your creator to grow and expand and to increase, and to push back against impossibilities and to believe that things are possible when they look impossible. So I am still thinking about what the Queen said. I dare say you haven't had much practice believing impossible things. And it occurred to me that we practice believing every day. Pretty much all day long, we're believing something. We're either believing in possibilities or impossibilities. We're believing in what we can have, what we can do, and what we can experience, or we're believing why we can't. The Queen was trying to show Alice what's important is which of the two we practice believing the most. So let's say the closing affirmation. Kathy, I believe there's a slide for that. So let's say this together, knowing that there are many, many others saying this with us at the same time as they're listening and watching. And let this be your practice to begin believing impossible things. So let's say this together. There are no limits in the universe. There are more possibilities than I can imagine. So let's have our time of spiritual practice together. It has been said that the voice for which we yearn is the voice of our own soul, which is God in us. Listening for that inner voice takes practice, because in a world where so many outer events and experiences are competing for our attention, going within can be a challenge. But it is possible to do, and we have a variety of ways to do it. Meditation, of course, is one way, and so is prayer. Others use all kinds of physical movement to go within. There is also chanting, quietly repeating a mantra, or what we do here a lot of the time is saying affirmations. Other people use reading, inspirational music. Other people use writing. Those are all ways to go within, and that's the short list. So this morning I'd like to use the affirmation that we said together a few minutes ago as our mantra in a few minutes. So I'd like you to just close your eyes and think of something that feels like an impossibility, or some challenge that feels difficult for you right now. Something bigger than you can accomplish on your own. I'm just going to give you a few seconds to think about that. Something that feels impossible, a difficult challenge, something bigger than you can accomplish on your own. So with that in mind, let's do what the Red Queen suggested to Alice. Practice believing impossible things. Practice believing that your impossibility is actually possible. So if you haven't already, I just invite you to close your eyes and take a breath and feel the breath that you take drawing you deeper within. And so repeat these words after me. There is no limit in the universe. There is no limit in the universe. There are more possibilities than I can imagine. There are more possibilities than I can imagine. My mind is strong and powerful. My mind is strong and powerful. I believe impossible things are possible. I believe impossible things are possible. Let's just be quiet for a few seconds and then we'll say that again. Let's repeat these after me again, please. There is no limit in the universe. There is no limit in the universe. There are more possibilities than I can imagine. There are more possibilities than I can imagine. My mind is strong and powerful. My mind is strong and powerful. I believe impossible things are possible. I believe impossible things are possible. So let's sit in the quiet with those words and to know that it's our practice of believing in impossible things. I invite you to take another deep breath and let it out. And say these words after me one more time so they really sink into our heart. There is no limit in the universe. There is no limit in the universe. There are more possibilities than I can imagine. There are more possibilities than I can imagine. My mind is strong and powerful. My mind is strong and powerful. I believe impossible things are possible. I believe impossible things are possible. And so it is.
These are the gifts of the gods, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the gods, are you ready to receive all the gifts of the gods? Love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the gods, are you ready to receive all the gifts of the gods? Love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the gods, I am ready to receive all the gifts of the gods. Love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the goddess, I am ready to receive.
Today I received a phone call from one of our prayer practitioners, and it was the most amazing experience ever because for just a couple of minutes she listened very intently to what I had to say, and then we said a prayer together, and it was absolutely the most amazing feeling when we hung up the phone that there was someone there who actually listened, who touched my heart, and was there just for me in that moment. So I encourage all of you, reach out to our prayer practitioners. They are there for you. They want to. She even made the comment to say, don't try to do all of this on your own. We're here for you. And I had kind of forgotten that. So I encourage you, reach out to them. They're here for you. They love doing it. She was quite happy about everything. It was fabulous. If you would like to reach out to them by filling out an online prayer card, go to our website, cslkc.org/prayer. Fill out an online prayer request card, and someone will get that card, and they will pray for you and with you for that request. You can also reach out to them through the 24-hour prayer line. They're there. They change the prayers every single day, 365. They're there, different prayer every single day. They're amazing. Also, you can reach out to them through the Zoom meeting rooms after the service. To find the link to sign up for those, you simply go to our website, cslkc.org. Right there on the homepage is the link for that Zoom meeting. Set it up, do whatever you need to do to reach out to them. We give thanks each and every day for all that we have and all that you give to CSL, to keep CSL here each week for all of us and for us to reach out into the community to help those in need. So for whatever way you give, whatever you give, through your time, talent, your service, it is so appreciated. Giving can be done in many ways. You can use one of the apps that are listed there on the screen. You can send money, checks please, no cash, through the post office, and you can send it here to the church office, or you can just simply set it up through your financial institution and have that taken out each month on a regular basis. Whatever you do, many thanks go out to each and every one of you who do give, and to all of you, I say namaste.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So thank you all so much for being with us this morning, regardless of how you connected on all the different platforms that we are on now, or whether it was on the website podcast. We are so grateful that you connected live or later. We appreciate knowing that you're listening and that you're connecting with us. It's our joy to do this for you, to keep us all connected the best we can right now. And we really value all of the ways that you're supporting us, that you're connecting with us, and remaining a community. So thank you for that. So let's say our closing affirmation that we say at the end of every service. This is our statement that says, this is how we believe God sees each and every one of us. So who are you? I am a perfect expression of God, entitled to a life of love and joy. Have a great week.
3, 4.